everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Talkin Parks. I'm your host, Michael Lynn White, and we talk about all things Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation. And today we're going to be talking about Cannonsburgh Village with Assistant Facility Coordinator Mary Beth Nevills. Mary Beth, we're so happy that you're here today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to talk about Cannonsburgh Village, which is a great part of our downtown community, and its upcoming 50-year anniversary.
Yes, we will celebrate 50 years in 2026.
So along with that, I know you've got lots of exciting things coming up. We're going to talk about that, but let's start out with kind of some of the history of Cannonsburgh Village, because we know it's there. It's been there for a long time, but kind of tell us how those buildings got there and why.
So Cannonsburgh was created as part of a bicentennial project. Mayor Westbrooks, who was the mayor of the city of Murfreesboro at the time, this would have been in 1973, 74, they started having conversations about putting it together. They applied to be part of the bicentennial project, received a federal grant, and they used that grant money to acquire buildings within Rutherford County to bring to this site, and they created Cannonsburgh Village.
So that's really neat. Yes, they got the buildings from somewhere else and brought them there, kind
Yes.
of a way to step back in time and give people a chance to figure out what things were like back in the day in Rutherford County.
Yes.
And so now you can walk in the buildings. Y'all have got, little like things in the pharmacy and stuff like that. And I know recently you've removed some of the barriers so people can even feel more at home in Cannonsburgh Village, or at least explore it a little deeper.
Yeah, we want the buildings to be accessible to as many people as possible. And by removing some of those gates and barriers, it's a first step in people being able to get a little closer to the collection inside the buildings a little bit more. And some of the buildings you can even walk all the way through, such as the general store.
Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people know about Cannonsburgh, but some people might not know. It's free to go onto the grounds. You can walk around. You can bring your lunch out there and sit down on the picnic table. It's really a beautiful spot right here in the middle of Murfreesboro.
It is right in the middle of downtown. I can hear the courthouse bells chime from my office. Mm-hmm. So in the middle of everything.
Yes, it is. Well, let's talk about some of the exciting things happening while you have been at Cannonsburgh.
Well, I think that right now is the most exciting time. I've been here 4 years, but we are in a period of growth and restoration, and I think that that's the most exciting, is seeing the future of Cannonsburgh. People coming in may not see the changes immediately as they're walking through, but in the museum world, change sometimes takes time and patience and research. So all of that is going on behind the scenes before it ever gets on exhibit to the public.
We were talking about this the other day, that there are lots of things that I know you're working on getting together for the 50th anniversary, and things that the community will be able to come and get a little more understanding of Cannonsburgh and the history.
Yeah, we have a lot of plans for the 50th anniversary, and now's the time to start working on those. We're going to need the community's help, though. We want to tell the early story, so we want to reach out to the public, and hopefully they have scrapbooks where they might have come to a wedding or a field trip, come to an event in the past where they can share their pictures with us. And they're sharing their family memory, but they're also sharing a Cannonsburgh memory. And sometimes those pictures have hidden value to us that people might not realize, because in the background of those photographs, we're seeing when trees were planted, when buildings were built, when things were moved around, what pieces were in the collection at the time, if it's a picture inside a building. So those prove invaluable to our research, and we're hoping that over the next year people will share those with us.
Well, that's good to know. If they're hearing this and they think, I have these random pictures, let you see them just in case there's something in there that could be of value to y'all.
Absolutely. And we hope that as we get closer to the 50th anniversary, we'll be able to share a lot of the old photographs that people do share with us. And who doesn't love old pictures?
I know I do. I could sit there and look at them for hours, and I think there are a lot of people around town that feel the same way. So in keeping of the growth and restoration, I love to see the new things that are happening at Cannonsburgh that we can visibly see, just like the new tractor that has recently been refurbished with its original colors and things like that. So that's a little first step that the community can see, and it was paid for by donations from Murfreesboro.
Yeah, the drive-through Christmas lights that we just had in 2024, all of the people that drove through and put a donation in the little donation box, that donation money was used to help restore the exterior of the Case steam engine that you see right as you go in the entrance when you go through the gates, sitting beside the blacksmith shop. And I did find an early picture where it was in the village in the late 1970s. So it's been on exhibit for a really long time.
Well, it makes me very happy because I love Cannonsburgh and it's beautiful out there, and I love to see people using it more and more. That tractor looks terrible, and so seeing how they were able to bring it back and sandblast it to its glory is awesome.
Yeah, it's nice to see people taking their picture in front of it and come in to see it.
Well, I know there's some other cool things coming up at Cannonsburgh as well. So I'm going to let you tell us about it.
Well, we have a new building that we have just built on site, and we have new residents that are going to move in and live in it, and we're going to make them pay rent. And they're going to pay through eggs.
So that's a little clue. So tell us about these new residents, because it sounds awesome.
Yeah, we have chickens coming. The coop has been built by staff, and they're on the way. The fence is up. This is new territory for us, but we think that it will be a great visitor experience.
Is that the reason you wanted to bring? Because I never would have thought about that. It's a great place for chickens out there, but what's the reason for bringing that in? Okay, yeah, simple as that.
Yeah.
I think that will be fun. People coming through with their kids, they can see some animals, and so I know that. Well, we talked a little bit about the walking in the buildings a little bit more and things like that. But what other things are y'all working on to get ready for the 50th?
Well, I think the most exciting update right now is the work that's being done on the Haynes Museum building. The Haynes Museum is the only original building that's left on the property. It was part of the Haynes Cotton Gin. The Haynes Cotton Gin stood just next to it beside the chapel in the field that you see. It was raised in 1990, but that building, the warehouse that was where they housed all the cotton, remained. And when Cannonsburgh was formed in 1976, the warehouse was used as an exhibit space. And so it's full of artifacts and exhibits. It has been closed for about 4 years for structural issues. But we are really excited. We've received a grant from the Capital Campaign through the state of Tennessee. It's being administered through the Tennessee State Museum, and it's a partial grant for the structural issues. They've just started working on the foundation, and then the roof will be next. So as soon as the structural work is done, then we can work on the rest of the building.
That's awesome, because it's a huge building. I've never been even seen inside of it, so I look forward to be able to go in and see what treasures are hiding there. And I know y'all are planning some things with the dated exhibits and all that are in there.
It's got great character, too.
Yeah, that's what I love about Cannonsburgh. It does feel, even if some of the buildings came from somewhere else, they're still local to our community, and it's just neat to see how people did things back then.
We have a lot of stories to tell that haven't been told in the 50 years. As research has evolved and we've met new people through the years, there's more stories to tell, more photographs come to life. So this is our chance, opening up the exhibits again to do some work and expand on what's already there.
It's kind of like a living museum, I guess, because y'all are working on the exhibits, but yet it's open to the public to browse around. I just think that's pretty cool and unique.
Yeah, it will be.
Yes, working on it.
Yes, we are working on it.
And
that is the goal.
Yes, I know you're working very hard. So, what are some of your favorite programming that you do? I know you've done a lot of programming with the schoolhouse and things like that. What's one of your favorite programming things that you do?
I think my favorite programs are when I can bring in people from the community and they can share their talents with our audience. And our audience are all ages. We range from toddlers and babies up through senior adults. And when we can bring in other members of the community as well as our talented staff to showcase whether it's pottery and weaving, basket making, or if it's special exhibits such as we've had a doll club before. We've brought in speakers from the Tennessee, the Agricultural Extension Office. So whenever we can bring in those people and tie them into the community that we have here. That makes it fun. And, the more people that we can reach, the better. 2024 was a great year. We saw just over 27,000 people utilize our site. And so just keep inviting them and bringing them in.
Well, I love that y'all are doing those programming, because just like the drive-through Christmas lights is insanely popular, and that was born, I think, from COVID, and we all had to stay in our cars. But now I hope we never get rid of it because it's so fun.
Well, this is a time for change, as we are adding to not only the exhibits but the buildings. So we're relooking at all of our events and programming, and trying to figure out what works best for the community and how we can add more.
Right, because they seem to like coming over there, and again, the success of some of the things that I've seen come about in the last few years is really exciting.
Well, there's so many new people to the community that have not been to Cannonsburgh, or maybe even the downtown area. If they live on the outskirts, they may not ever make it to our site or side of town. So we want to try to plan things that are interesting to everyone. They can pick and choose what they want to come to. And by putting those things on Facebook or out on social media, on the city's website, hopefully they'll be able to scroll through those and say, hey, this is something I want to do.
Yes, that's true, because we always have new people coming in every day. And I love how some of the events people in the community, some of the things become their favorite, whether it's we go to this every year kind of thing, which I think is neat.
Well, Parks and Recreation does so good at including a historical site within the Parks Department. They are so supportive of the museum aspect, not only just the recreation part of it. So it's a great win-win for Parks and Recreation to have the historical site, the cultural activities that we're able to do.
And I know you are well versed in all things museum, Mary Beth, so we're lucky to have you.
Well,
and Greg as well.
you.
Greg is the facility coordinator of Cannonsburgh, so we're really excited to have some talented people in there, and look forward to the 50th year of Cannonsburgh. And I can't wait to see what all comes to fruition.
Yeah, I hope that the community really help us tell the full story.
Okay, listeners, this is the time. We're going to wrap this up, and I hope this gave you a little bit of overview of what Cannonsburgh is and why it's important. So now we're going to get to know a little bit more about Mary Beth here personally in our segment that we like to call Fast Five. So are you ready to get into this, Mary Beth?
Maybe.
It's very easy.
Okay.
So first question, what is your favorite part of working at Cannonsburgh?
I think the fact that I can just get out and explore and learn something new every day. After 4 years, there is still a chance that I'll walk into a building and see something that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, do you have a favorite building or exhibit there?
Ooh, it kind of changes depending on what I'm working on. Lately, I'm kind of obsessed with the telephone building.
Okay.
I love the time period, the story, and so I'm a little bit obsessed with it. But that'll change when I get to work in another building.
Yeah. Well, that makes me want to come back to the telephone building. I've been in there before, but I need to come back with you. Just like the other day when you showed me the chapel, that we just had an event out at Cannonsburgh Pioneer Days, and I thought about it several times this weekend, that cool wedding dress that you had brought in.
Yeah, for the month of April, we wanted to highlight the chapel, and so we had a wedding dress, a 1940s slipper satin wedding dress on loan from Four Sisters Antique Store. And they were very kind to let us use it and put it in there, and it just glowed in front of the stained glass windows.
Yes, it did. I wish we could keep it. I love that dress. It was beautiful. So what is your favorite art or historical exhibit that you've ever seen? Not Cannonsburgh, but just in general. Do you have one that sticks out?
Actually, I do. I have a family in East Tennessee, and we lived in Texas, and once a year we come up and visit family, and every year we went to the Museum of Appalachia.
Oh, cool.
And that is my favorite museum.
I've never been there, so I want to
go.
go. I need to go. Okay, Mary Beth, what's your favorite movie?
I don't know that I have a favorite movie. I think all things Christmas.
Okay. You know why I chose that question? Because my supervisor is Mary Beth's husband, and he tells us about how she likes her Hallmark movies. So I said, I know she's going to have a favorite movie.
All things Christmas.
I love it. Perfect. Okay, and we'll see. This one might be a little more tough, but do you have a favorite historical person? And if so, who?
No, I really don't. I think I jump around. It's the research of it. It's finding out about individual people that I think really interests me.
Yes.
And then once I get questions on somebody else, I'll move on to somebody else and see what I can find.
So you have lots of favorites, I'm sure, that are very interesting.
I don't think you know that they're a favorite. I think it's just the interest in what they did, what they invented, what they've worked on. And so you kind of jump around.
Okay, Mary Beth's not picking a favorite.
I'm
She's
not
not going to
picking a
choose
favorite.
a favorite child today.
No.
Well, thank you so much for coming here to talk with us today. And I learned something new about Cannonsburgh, and you've inspired me to go back. It's just like any museum. There's always something new to see.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I'm Michael Lynn White, and thank you so much for watching Talkin Parks. Make sure to check us out wherever you get your podcast, and you can always catch us on YouTube and Facebook. We'll see you next time.